Hello, this is Michał Kułakowski from Software Sales 101. Today I'd like to tell you about an embarrassing situation which happened many times to me, could have happened to you as well. What if you're working on a deal and you have your champion and you think you have a decent understanding of why the customer needs what you're selling, but all of a sudden you learn that, hey, your project just got deprioritized because of other important priorities. We're sorry, but we can't buy your software. Frustrating, isn't it? Well, in order to prevent that, you need to meet the person who controls the budget and identify their view of things. This person is commonly referred to as economic buyer. And the useful way of thinking about economic buyer is the person who can say yes, and if they say yes, no one else in the whole organization can ever say no. These are the ultimate owners of the budget. This very seldom is procurement. Usually it is an executive at certain level. Sometimes it's a group of people, actually more and more often. It's a group of people in those high-stake decisions. So meeting with the executive to understand their buy-in into something they never heard about before can be kind of stressful situation. Many salespeople freak out when they think about such a confrontation. In reality, these people are people like every one of us. They have their own set of things they want to achieve in work, and the difference between high-profile executive and us is likely that they have so much less time to spend on the details achieving these things. Which actually means that if you are going to prove that you understand their agenda and that you can be useful taking them forward, you are winning a very powerful ally. I suggest that for such a meeting with the senior person holding budget for whatever you want to sell, you only need two objectives. Number one is to make sure that your understanding of what is important, relevant to them is correct. Number two is making sure that if you tap into it and propose something specific that is important enough for them that they are going to focus on that, versus deprioritizing that towards other things. So how do you do that? A useful way of framing a meeting with an executive is called the value pyramid. To put that in context, very often when you're meeting with an executive, you're getting a limited amount of time, and this time might shrink last minute. So being prepared, as you already know, is key. This way, which I'm proposing here, is called value pyramid. It's a single slide presentation, which sole purpose is to validate your understanding of the agenda of the executive at the other end of a table. Value pyramid is a pyramid which has tiers, and those tiers respectively are: number one, the company corporate objectives, where do they want to be as the whole organization. Number two, strategies that they are taking to get there. Those are things that you're typically, they're 100% theirs. You can't make it up, but you can find it in the shareholder report, in the executive statements on the internet. These are very rarely things that the company is shy about. They're going to be talking about it. You just need to find those statements. Below, there is specific initiatives that the company is taking, say cloud migration or some sort of savings projects that they are running through, or any other initiative, any other project that they are going through. And that is still their initiative, not yours. Below, there is critical capabilities that you think are important for them to succeed. And only below that is your product and potentially set of proof points that you have done that before. When you have this type of slide with you, you can frame the discussion in a way, I've done some research, I've done my homework, I'd really love to understand, dear customer, if what we understand is correct from your perspective, and they will appreciate it. If you hit it on the spot, then that's great. If not, that opens up a discussion. What are the differences? What is the delta? And gives you the chance to understand what really is the importance of what you are doing for that executive. Value pyramid is a great tool, but it has its limitations. A good way to use it is to use it in a one-to-one or many-to-one meeting with one specific executive, with one specific agenda that you are validating. It is not great format to meet lower rank employees of the organization who might not see the big picture across the whole value stack towards corporate objective. And it's definitely not a great tool for meeting with groups of people, because each of them, as you already know, could drive slightly different agenda. And if you're in this meeting, don't forget to ask in the very end this one extra question. If we deliver on this promise, if we do what we promise here, would that mean that you would spend your budget on this, dear customer? This is important because that creates commitment. And if at this point that you hear yes, there's high chance that this yes will be taken forward. One more thing worth doing: if you have a specific plan, how are you going to prove that you are capable of doing what you're promising that you're doing, is to secure the next step, secure the date for so-called eco-back meeting, where you can get back to this very executive and say, here's what we've done in order to prove that what you want to achieve is possible. If you don't do that, getting attention of the executive later on might be a challenging thing to do. In the next movie, we're going to be talking about qualifying, building, and measuring your ROI, which is an important part of this conversation. Meanwhile, subscribe, comment, and see you next Wednesday.